All right, half a day, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the One Micronesia podcast. My name is Victorious, and in this episode, man, I'm really excited to talk about this. We've had some talks about it in our previous podcast, but we never really got into depth of what the program is and what it features, and it's all about something that we here in the Micronesian region are familiar with, and it's storytelling, and it's something that maybe not today that we continue with the kids, and I love this program because it's the fact that we're kind of bringing it back, and it's something that's part of our culture. So why not bring it back to the forefront of our daily lives? So here with me on the podcast from Guahan, from Humanities Guahan, I do have with me Nadine Songi and Leslie Reynolds. From the awesome organization. So guys, thank you so much. I know it's such a busy day, but I had to get you guys on here just to talk stories, pretty much.
Yes, thank
Welcome
you
to
for
the
having
podcast,
us.
guys.
Thanks for having us.
All right,
Thank
so
you. Uh,
yeah, go ahead. So we'll start with Leslie because before we jumped on here, I just found out that Leslie, you're a big part of what Humanities Guahan has been doing, and especially when it comes to funding. So let's talk about your role in all of this.
Hi, I'm the grant writer at Humanities Guahan. So I apply for both local and national grants so that we can fund these programs like the Virtual Family Story Hour, which Nadine has done an amazing job presenting. So the Virtual Family Story Hour is actually an extension of our Mother Read, Father Read family literacy program. And we've been doing that, presenting that in the community since 2000. We actually launched this virtual online program in June 2020 after the COVID pandemic started. In order to be able to keep presenting it, we applied for CAHA's CARES grant funding. That's, emergency relief funding. And we were fortunate enough to get it through CAHA and the National Endowment for the Arts. So we're grateful to have that funding so that we can continue presenting it. The Virtual Family Story Hour, it's a weekly program that is held on Zoom. And we have trained facilitators that present multicultural children's books and also Pacific literature, children's literature. And they do the book, and they also do literacy activities for parents or guardians and kids. And then monthly, we have special readings from local and regional storytellers, like you mentioned, and authors. And those are on a monthly basis.
Wow. In keeping a program like this rolling, and like you said, you guys, had to look for ways to find funds. Was it hard at first when to find funds to keep these programs running, or are these funds that are already out there, you just need to apply for it?
It is challenging, but luckily, places like CAHA, we have our own CARES Act funding, but that's not something that we can use to fund our own programs. That's something that other people apply for, and we gave all that money away into the community for awesome programs that other people run. So we too, in order to support our programs, have to find money to keep those going. So, I know a lot of people applied for the CAHA's CARES Act funding, so we're really grateful that we were able to get that.
Awesome. And you guys already obviously got the grant already, and the series is off and rolling. And I received that email from Nadine days ago, and I was like, wow, this is it. I mean, we're back and we're rolling this with storytelling, this new series, not the continuing of the series. So it's an amazing thing. And let's get Nadine on here. Nadine, this is, I feel like this is your baby, and I think it's something that you've been working on for a while, and you put a lot of heart in this. So let's talk more about this storytelling, why And I know I kicked off the introduction with storytelling being a part of our culture here in the Micronesian region, and how that's how things, information pass on from generation to generation. So why was storytelling the thing that you kind of focus, like kept your eye on, and your lockdowns like this is something that has to be done?
Right.
Why storytelling?
Right. So, like, just I think you said it beautifully. It's rooted in our culture. It's rooted in our identity, our stories from our ancestors. We pass that along to our children, and that ties beautifully with the idea of literacy. And our Mother Eat program really supports the idea of literacy, family literacy most especially. And we believe that literacy has a lifetime of literacy really begins at a very young age. It's not just something that's you get a skill from school. It's finding meaning. It's finding connecting, or it's connecting. It's understanding. Literacy is reading, writing, listening, speaking, thinking, and solving. It's power that we get through books and stories, and these powers we empower our children and families to strengthen their relationship with one another, and really that's what we wanted to focus on, or continue the focus and find ways to make that happen through virtual platforms. It was definitely a challenge in the first place, but I think we were able to make it work. And it's been next it'll be almost a year soon, so I think we've been able to kind of get better at it. So we're just glad to be able to do that. There's two parts to this. So that we have, because like Leslie mentioned, it's an extension of our Mother Read program, and it's a really great program that really uses multicultural books. But they feature universal themes that we in the Pacific can really relate to. And so we have that happening on a weekly basis, and we have we have wonderful facilitators helping us present those books with activities and really fun things to do on a virtual, creative ways to have fun on Zoom. But so that's the weekly one, and then like Leslie mentioned, we have our special Saturday session, and that's once a month, just because we're trying to identify who the storytellers are, work with them on how to present this, because it's a different platform, right? It's obviously, if it was in person, then it'll just come out differently. But presenting it on Zoom is just another kind of extra things to think about and work it out. And so I'm happy to say that we had three so far. Last year we had one. We had one story that featured Sina Rufina Mendiola and Sina Rosa Palomo, and that was on a book in Chamorro, and it looked kind of between Marianas and Guahan. And then we also had a wonderful Chamorro story song with Jennifer Joy, and she's based in Taiwan, but Guam is it's her home, and she keeps in contact with Guam, and this was one way to kind of highlight that connection. And so we did like a fun gingerbread, a localized gingerbread story, and so it was fun to do that. And then I think, and then moving ahead or looking forward, it's been fun for me to kind of like identifying different speakers for the storytelling the Saturday edition. So I'm happy to say that we have online someone from Palau. She's a children book author. I won't get into much detail because I want to, when we get those information, we'll pass it along to you to help us promote. But we have also a poet from Pohnpei who's also going to kind of add a little twist in storytelling with Pohnpei. And we have a navigator from the outer islands of Yap, and that's also going to be built into our line of stories. Marshall Islands, I'm going to talk to a good friend from the Marshall Islands to kind of help with that. And so it's also me like looking at relationships that I've made over the years and banking on those relationships to really feature them. And like you were saying, this program, I think at the end of the day, this just really reinforces that idea that we all have that power to our stories are so powerful, and then these stories, how do we make these stories um, powerful agents or inspirations to part of our community building and part of our relationship building. And so that's really at the end of the day what we're trying to do is just strengthen relationship within the families, and then as part of that, an extension to the community around them, and then the region that we're in.
Exactly. And, we live in an age of TikTok. So, having something like this, kind of take the kids away from their tablets or from their devices, just to sit down and listen to a story. We don't see that anymore. Kids just sitting down around the table, and, the parents just, throw out a legend. You talk about, some legends, in the islands, so it's a beautiful thing that you guys brought back storytelling. It's been a minute, but I think it's a perfect timing to bring it back. We just got out of 2020. What a year we've been through of just stuck inside the house. So having something like this as we roll through 2021 to kind of to bring back that idea of storytelling and how important it is to our culture here in the Micronesian region. I think that's a beautiful thing that you guys are doing. I was just gonna jump to Leslie real quick. I know you, when you were growing up, like, was storytelling a big thing in your household as well?
I guess so. I mean, I guess mostly around books. Like a lot of reading books and having books around. But I think the thing that we really want to highlight too is that we don't want people to think of literacy and the program as having, that literacy is just at school, and that it's just
Book
reading
written.
words in a book. But actually, the oral traditions and storytelling, all of that is included in literacy, and just sort of being able to connect what kids and families have in their daily life to stories and reflect on it and talk about it. That's all literacy. So we're very like inclusive with how we think about family literacy.
That's awesome.
And can I add to that that when we initially started off with this, and we looked to our good friends at UOG Press, and when I was we were talking about this, and they're an institution or an organization that will that work to publish local text, or local, create local publications. And so what's good, when I was telling her about like the different storytellers that I wanted on for the program, she goes, it would the woman I was talking to, Akina Chargaloff, she was like, I think when you identify who those storytellers are, see they'd be interested in getting it published. Like that could be something that we can transfer some oral tradition, which that are appropriate. Which ones can adapt into the written form, because like Leslie was saying, we are used to what literacy is in the written form, and in bind it. But we that's different from what our what Micronesia also has, the oral tradition. So it's kind of like meeting the middle ground of highlighting storytellers, but then looking at potentials for storytellers to be written, to actually be published, and then that could give more resources to families to use and inspire more kids to be interested in all of that.
And also how to preserve the story, as the story could live on forever. Many generations after this could open a book and read the same story that was read in your series. So that's an awesome
Yeah,
thing. So we
yeah,
encourage, definitely encourage people out there who know stories, because there are so many, there are so many stories in the islands. You pick an island, there are like millions of stories, and some of those stories are long gone because they weren't published. We're waking up right now to this whole idea, so we're trying to publish as much as possible, but we still need to get those stories in, and there's so many stories still out there that needs to be published. So it could be published and used on a program like this. Such an awesome thing. So
yeah.
let's get into so before we close out
Lots
here.
of potential.
Exactly. But before we close out here, Nadine, the first feature, let's talk about that. The first story to kick off the series, and I know it's a very awesome one, and it's close to home for you. So let's talk about this story.
Yes, thank you. So our first special edition will take place Saturday at 10 a.m. And so it really is a way to take audience members on an adventure with us and explore the different islands of Micronesia, specifically Chuk in this case. And we're going to be learning about Chuk's natural environment and cultural values through the story song of Nikatabat. And even the name, how I got to learn about that bird, that endemic bird to Micronesia. It was a really fun journey for me to learn about it, and then also build it into the presentation that I'll be doing on that Saturday. And so, yeah, that's our first one to kick us off. And what's nice is we are going to expand the story to look at, like I said, the environment of the islands, and then the cultural values that are written in the story and the song, or built into the song, really. And I think what I was really looking forward to is I'm hoping to turn that story into something written that I can share with like GDOE, so that as they work with migrant communities, these are things that teachers can actually use as resources in working with students, and also helping parents see the connection between the spoken tradition and written literacy form.
Oh
But yeah,
wow.
that's on Saturday, February 20. We hope people are interested and sign up. There is a limited seat. I was gonna say seat, but a limited space, just because we really want to we build in an interactive component. And unless there's people that just wanted to observe, we can work that out. But it really is family oriented, and so we'll have some activities for the kids and parents to do together. And then we have story extenders, which is a way for families to, even after the Zoom session ends, we give them takeaways so that they can continue the story, or just keep building upon that activity that we present.
Oh wow, such an awesome thing, man. We talk about a program that started as a face-to-face thing, and then now you've kind of transitioned it and modified it, tweaked it to work in a virtual world. It's just an awesome thing. So Nadine and Leslie, thank you guys so much. We do anything to throw out there before we close out here?
We just hope more people, I guess the phrase is, like us on Facebook, so that you can see the updates, or sign up for add yourself to our mailing list. We're going to have really a month long, a year long storytellers. And that's the plan. The plan is to have one feature a month from the different regions. And just hope to see people there.
Awesome. And like I said, man, you guys are off to a great start here in 2021 with, tweaking up such an awesome series to continue. So Nadine and Leslie, again, thank you guys so much for the time here on the podcast.
It is so.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Another episode in the books, and we will see you guys at the next one.